Hey, my brothers, this is Davi speaking. My brothers, you know that the Moroccans invaded Spain, right? A lot of people are considering it a recolonization of that country, a conflict lost or won by the Moroccans without firing a shot. Left-wing governments, my brothers, have the same way of operating. You'll see how this is connected to Brazil. You might even think, damn, this guy's crazy, right? Anyone who's here on the channel for the first time will say I'm crazy, because how can a guy connect something from Spain and Morocco with Brazil, especially with Molusco's intention to put this country in the line of fire? That's what the left is working to do, and you'll understand it better now, all right? First, let's give a little overview of what happened, okay? I'm going to show an article from the corrupt media here, all right? It shows, right? I'll just put a small excerpt, folks. A lot of people are talking about this. If you want, I can make a video just about that, right? About this here. But I want you to understand for now that this is connected to the strategy of getting Brazil into trouble. You'll understand better. Let me give you the information first. Let's go. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you'll understand this. Let's go.
An image that went around the world today, a crowd of immigrants coming from Morocco swimming across the border into the Spanish territory of Ceuta, which is in North Africa. The Spanish state broadcaster TVE estimates that between 2,000 and 3,000 people crossed the border. At least 9 have died. The government of Spain is family.
There were as many as 40,000. 40,000, that's just talk from that guy. 40,000 Moroccans came in, right? There are other videos that show it better. Like I said, if you want, I can make a video about it. But it was more than 40,000. That's what the Spanish government is saying, 40,000. And one interesting thing is that you don't see women, you don't see children. They're men. Men at the perfect age for fighting, for a military attack. So keep an eye on it. You know, Spain also has a left-wing government, right? That one with open border policies and so on, etc. To hell with the people, right? And look, I'll explain this better later because you'll understand how this relates to Brazil.
They're mobilized. They're mobilizing military reinforcements exactly to contain this crisis, hundreds.
And moving on, hundreds of thousands, thank you. Just play it. They use floats like this just a minute.
It's also funny that they're avoiding showing images of their crowd. That way you can really see what they're saying.
More floats or swimming gear. This family with 5 children used life jackets to make the crossing. In this video, you can see a crowd squeezed together on the beach.
Look how interesting this is, right? When they want to make it look like there are a lot of people, what do? They zoom in, right? They zoom in on that group to make it seem crowded. See how they frame the shot to hide the real number? Why not widen it to show more sides? That way, you'd get a better idea. 40,000 families.
Migrants arrived by sea. Amid the chaos, emergency services assisted those who were injured on the breakwater. With police overwhelmed by the mass crossing, crowds broke through the fences and ran into the city. Some broke through the gate at the entrance to the enclave. In this video, you can see hundreds of people celebrating.
Look at how this doesn't ring true. See, if it were only 2,000, wouldn't the Spanish guards, the police, have handled it? 2,000 people, wouldn't they have managed it? Is a first world country really that incompetent? Obviously not. The point is, it wasn't 2,000, it was 40,000. And look, notice, you see that the report, right? It's focused on saying that these are people who are fleeing oppression, right? That Spain is right to welcome these people. But look, check this out, my brother. I'll even take a screenshot so you can see it better because it's right there on the screen, right? Notice that they are men, right? Men of prime fighting age. Let me save this right now, folks. Let me save this real quick. Done. Save this image so you can look at it. Look at this image, all right? And you already have the full idea, my brothers, that no, they're not the poor, helpless people coming, no. They're people, right? And actually, there's even an interview that the local Spanish TV did. And they interviewed one of these guys. They asked him the reason, if it was because he didn't have a job and so on. And he said, no, I came here because they're saying I killed someone back there. That I know I took someone's life back there. And to avoid being arrested, I came here. That's the kind of immigrant who's going there, okay? Well, we've already got an idea. Let's go. How is this related to Brazil? Let's get to the facts. First, my brothers, you need to watch this video. This video that we made It's very important that you watch this video, all right? Because I show the events. One thing is for me to tell you, you're a smart guy, you memorize. But it's another thing for you to see the facts, to see the people themselves doing it. Things happening, you'll memorize it much better. So I'll summarize it here. But to me, summarizing is for lazy people. Watch this video, right? Leave this one paused. Open this other video. Watch it all the way through because you'll see Milei speaking. You'll even see Paraguay's response. I'll summarize it here, okay? All right. Molusco had nothing else to do, right? And he offended Paraguay, prodding an open wound. And he did that on purpose, right? He went on to say that Brazil needed to arm itself. And he mentioned, the invasion of Paraguay, which for Paraguay, that's, for Paraguay. For the Paraguayan government, that's an open wound. Because according to historians, Brazil really devastated Paraguay, wiping out most of the men. The female population there still far exceeds the male population. And a lot of rapes happen. You know that a fight is never pretty, right? Brazil has its version, Paraguay has its own, and obviously something like this, which took so many lives, is an extremely delicate subject, and even Molusco himself avoided it, right? Other administrations and presidents avoided this subject, but why? It's been a long time, and the countries have a good relationship now, so why keep mentioning it? But Lula wants to get Brazil into a mess, because it has to do with what you just saw in Morocco. I'll explain it to you, all right? But first, let's have a quick look at what happened. Because even the Brazilian ambassador was summoned because of the crap that Molusco said. I'll put up the screen capture. Let's take a look. Come with me.
The Paraguayan government summoned the Brazilian ambassador in Asunción after President Lula's statements about the Paraguayan War. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has not yet disclosed the content of this conversation, but reporter Murilo Fagundes will now bring us all the information live, also from Brasilia. Murilo, good evening. Tell me everything, don't leave anything out.
I say that here at home.
Good evening, Cesar. Good evening, everyone. So the Paraguayan government has summoned the Brazilian ambassador in Asunción to deliver a note in response to President Lula's statements about the Paraguayan War. This controversy started last week. This happened when, while defending investments in the defense industry, Lula said that Brazil needs to be prepared and stated that one day Paraguay decided to invade Brazil, recalling the conflict.
Look, my brothers, earlier we heard the reaction this caused, right? Look at the absurdity. The Brazilian left, we know today, many people have realized this, that it was never the government of love, it's the government of revenge. What's happening with Bolsonaro, forbidding him from seeing his son and so on, even from having his image shown on air, it's all revenge, right? You don't have to support Bolsonaro to get that. It's the government of revenge. There are audio recordings of him. We've already shown these audios all these years. He said, I'm going to screw Moro, and so many other absurd statements, and he really did it. He went after everyone, right? It was always a government of revenge, but we only noticed now due to social media. But before, from the very beginning, they were always the government of revenge. When they took over, they never forgave what they called the military dictatorship. They never forgave the so-called coup. And when they took over, they started to take revenge on the armed forces, dismantling them, demoralizing and corrupting the high command. They put their supporters in charge, right? To work, in fact, to earn high salaries without working and to turn a blind eye to the crimes happening at our border. Because from my point of view, these crimes are connected to a lot of sponsors, right? If you know what I mean, right? Of certain politicians' campaigns, which are the criminal gangs. So they dismantled the army, humiliated the soldiers. Doing what? What is our army specialized in doing? Does it protect our borders? No. Just look at the tons of illicit goods that come in here, weapons and drugs. So they are extremely incompetent and are run down, just as Dr. Aeneas had been warning all his life. What our army knows how to do today is paint fences and fix asphalt.
Who is going to talk to us about this initiative to bring the recruits out to the avenue and make this contribution here? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Paulo and the radio listeners and TV Amplitude viewers. Yeah, so some time ago, the mayor of the city came to me requesting, if we could provide support here for the city hall regarding the cleaning of the city. Not necessarily for Expo Vale, but to improve the city's appearance after the rainy season ended. The city got really dirty.
So listen, if you turn 18 this year, enlist in the Brazilian army. Here you'll jump from helicopters, ride in armored vehicles, shoot and learn operational skills, but if you can't, just keep going. This will be your new best friend. This one's name is Creek Creek Creek. Sir? But why is it called Creek Creek? Come here, come here. I'll teach you once. Listen to the sound.
Bye!
Crickery, crickery, you'll be an army soldier, you see? Alright, I'll be waiting for you there, bro. What's up, Resende? A kiss from Golo, not the fat one.
Nothing to declare.
Man! Crazy, right, man? Yeah, dude. And
That's what our forces have been reduced to. Minimal military training, minimal equipment, and so on. That was their revenge to ensure that national forces would never again have autonomy and power. The strength to block any plan that went against the interests of the nation.
Because the armed forces have always been the bulwark of order and love for the homeland. Because before anything else, the armed forces exist to defend, not the government, which is temporary. I mean the homeland. A soldier serves the homeland, and the homeland is counting on him.
So, they did it, but nobody noticed. Few people noticed. They've always been a government driven by revenge. So, my brothers, everything they do is extremely calculated. As Chapolin used to say, it's no coincidence he was red. He used to say, my moves are coldly calculated. That's how the left operates. Exactly like that. So he goes and causes this mess here with the Paraguayan government. And I ask you, which country today, or let's say which two neighboring countries, are Brazilians immigrating to? The main one you already know is Paraguay. By him saying this at this moment, does it help or worsen the relationship, especially for the people who are going from here to there? This isn't by chance. Just listen to the reaction.
This statement caused a strong reaction in Asunción. Yesterday, the Paraguayan Chamber of Deputies approved a motion of condemnation, stating that the Brazilian president distorted and minimized the historical context of the war. This Thursday, the Paraguayan foreign minister stated that the country's dignity is not negotiable and said that the matter has already been addressed between Lula and Santiago Peña, the president of Paraguay, in a phone conversation. But the Brazilian government denies it. In diplomacy, why?
Because he was scolded, right? But when it comes to Molusco, anyone who thinks this is just an isolated thing, just some idiot in power, some drunk booze hound, like people say, you'll understand better how all this connects. So keep piecing this information together, and you'll see what it has to do with Morocco and Spain. Now let's move on to another issue. All of this has some details, including the response from a Paraguayan congressman, a tough response. I hope you watch this video so you don't just get bits of news. So now let's move on to the other one, all right? Millie had some strong words to say. We also showed Millie himself speaking. We included the part where he talks in that video that I asked you to watch, right? That I recommended to you. And Millie said loud and clear that Molusco financed the Argentine left. Argentina. Which shows that Lula's statements and his actions are not isolated things, it's something orchestrated. That story about the São Paulo Forum, about a big homeland, a region governed by communists, it's not something made up by conspiracy theorists. In fact, that's according to Millie, but he didn't present any evidence. What counts as evidence to you? Is it only when a judge declares that this is evidence? If that's the case, my brother, you should close this video, as it's not for you, right? Believing in that is believing that justice is some kind of entity not made by men, and that always acts within its own law. But we see the opposite of that here all the time, right? So, Milei came, said a few harsh truths, called the immoral one what he is, and Molusco is already picking a fight and pretending to be outraged. And now it turned into this. Look, listen.
This is news that has just been shared on G1 by Ricardo Abreu and also Felipe Matoso. It's news that says the following about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which has just announced that it has called the Brazilian ambassador to Argentina for consultations. Julio Bitelli was summoned after the statements made by the Argentine president yesterday during the convention that launched Flavio Bolsonaro as a presidential candidate. You followed it here on Globo News. Milei attacked the Brazilian justice system and also Justice Alexandre de Moraes.
For God's sake, you get it now, right? He didn't attack, he told the truth, right? He told the truth. So my brothers, this caused a stir, right? This discomfort. And now, the Itamaraty is demanding that Milei apologize. But Milei said he won't apologize. On the contrary, Milei is the one who doubled down this time. And I'll tell you, unfortunately, my brother, it got worse, even worse for me and for you. Look at this report published by Jovem Pan. Argentina is tightening migration rules and may punish hate speech against the country. Now you start to understand this World Cup feud too. This idea of fueling, you know, this hatred between Brazilians and Argentinians. Now this is where you start to understand, see? Even the photo from Jovem Pan is biased. They show Milei making a pouty face. See? This puts out the worst possible image, right? Who else did you see mocking Argentina during the World Cup? If you watched, for example, that guy Vesgo, right? Who's a trash reporter. He was at the stadium entrance making fun of Argentina, and it's really offensive. His humor has always been like that. It's offensive. Because honestly, that guy isn't funny. He says outrageous things, right? He says rude things that leave people shocked. Damn, how can the guy say something like that and then some nasty people think it's funny, right? So Vesgo was there fueling this hatred, right? Because the media has always lived off of that. And then my Davi, but they're racist. Man, if you show me, you know, that a lot of crime happens there against people of color, then I'll believe it. Now, in real life, what I see there are tasteless jokes. They imitate monkeys and stuff like that. But I don't see them attacking, or killing anyone. In fact, their numbers are even lower than ours. And I have friends who travel there. They go in motorcycle groups. In fact, in the group I was invited to, I still had the Kawasaki. Davi, are you coming with us? There were 2 black guys who love Argentina. So, a country that treats visitors well. They had already been 3 times. This was the 4th. If I went, it would be my first time, and it would already be the guys' 4th. And I was invited to thank them. I never even asked. But the people there are really friendly, man. I mean, they had no reason to lie. In fact, if it really were hostile, I don't think they would go there so often. I think you must agree with me. Now, should a joke be seen as a crime? I don't think so. A crime is a crime. But in Brazil, he interrupted the woman while she was speaking. He joked about something. He should be arrested. And the real crimes just get ignored. So Argentina still isn't distorted like this. And if you buy into these narratives, I saw all the videos they posted on the internet. I made a point to watch them. Because if it were true, I would make a video. I'm not Argentinian. I'd make a video, but I didn't see that. Just tasteless jokes. And that's all it was. I didn't see anything else. I didn't see anyone being attacked for being black or anything like that. Why does the media fuel this drama? For this. Do you think it's easy now? Here, Argentina is tightening immigration rules. Do you want to live in Argentina? Many Brazilians have been going there. I think it's the second country in the region people have been choosing most after Paraguay. Do you want to leave now? It's harder. If you're there and say something against Argentina, you'll be deported. Do you think he did that here? Milei made that rule here for Americans. For Spaniards. No, he made it for Brazilians. He made it for us Brazilians since we're the main visitors, especially motorcycle groups. So it's harder now. Molusco did everything to make this happen. Do you think Paraguay won't do the same? Here's what I'm saying. It's not a prophecy. I'm no prophet, just a sinner. Soon you'll remember the time when you had the chance to go to those countries and you didn't. Do you think I'm joking? The country is falling apart, my brother. The country is bankrupt. You're the sole income source. This urge you're having, these thoughts you're having, wanting to leave the country, thinking about Paraguay, Argentina, or somewhere else. The gods of Olympus know it too. Molusco knows it too. Now let's go to Morocco. What does all this have to do with Morocco? That's what I want to know, Davey. You've lost your mind. This migration wave, my brother, it's a global movement. It's a movement of the global left. Look, if you paid attention, I'll show the picture again. Look at the picture of these individuals. These guys came only with the clothes on their backs. Some didn't even have that. They came just with their shorts. They didn't even have a shirt. These people, that guy there, is he going to need welfare or not? Is he going to be an independent person in the country, able to support himself, or is he going to need humanitarian aid? Where is this humanitarian aid going to come from? The government will give it. The government doesn't have money. The government doesn't have anything. What the government does is collect taxes. And supposedly, right, provide it back to people as services. So who is going to provide assistance to these 40,000 new citizens because they are going to legalize them? You'll see, right? Even though there is the opposition that's trying, but they're going to try to grant this group legal status. I ask you this, look, this guy who just came into Spain, is he going to vote in favor of private property? Of property rights? Is he going to vote for the traditional family? Or is he going to vote to keep the programs that are helping him? Is he going to vote for the programs that are feeding him? What do you think? So, my brothers, we can say without a shadow of a doubt and without fear of being wrong, that Spain has just received 40,000 left-wing voters and left-wing programs. Because these people are going to vote with their own interests in mind. Not for the good of the nation, for the good of the Spanish citizen, who, by the way, is upset with this influx of immigrants. Why? Because when something like this happens, who do you think it was? Imagine. Do you understand? Robbery, followed by death. Who committed such a barbaric crime? Do you understand? So this modus operandi is global. The entire left, bro, is coordinated. They're following orders to do exactly that inside each country. So this mess, this bullshit, this garbage that Molusco is saying, it's meant to cause this discomfort among neighboring countries that are under the control of conservatives, to prevent you from leaving here since people don't want to come here. No Moroccan wants to come here. What's he supposed to do? Hold on to the citizens he has. And he's going to do that. He's going to do it. Pay attention. He's going to do that, folks. Forcing neighboring governments to tighten migration rules because the relationship is going to get so sour between the two sides that the population itself will demand it. Look, don't let those people come here. Those people are trash. But it's not our fault. But it's not their fault either that we're so calm like this, with our mouths open facing up, letting this guy be our top representative. Because whether you like it or not, Molusco is the top representative of the country right now. So if he says that about Paraguay, if he says that, the country will demand it. Exactly what Milei is doing. Don't you think so? The rotten Brazilian media won't talk about it. But those attacks that Argentina suffered during the World Cup, mainly from Brazilians. That one. That little fight there, involving Argentina with Milei, the statements he made, Molusco denying he would visit, actually the immoral one denying it. It's all the same thing, right? Denying that he would visit Bolsonaro. All of this, my brother, is just fueling things. And these nations are making decisions, and it's not going to be against him, because he doesn't care. If the country takes a hit, loses a trade partner, he doesn't care. Having China and Russia on his side is great for him. Right? Cuba. That's great. All hell is about to break loose. This is for you, my brother, who wants to get out of here. That's the idea. It's to keep us trapped here. So we keep providing blood, literally to them. because they live off our blood like parasites. Anyway, my brothers, that's the truth. I hope you understood. Share it. Show it to more people. Some people aren't noticing the game, the scheme. Nothing these guys do, my brother, is by chance. It wasn't just that Lula had a drink and said it. No, he was ordered to say that. Only those who don't want to see it don't see it. Pray, right? Pray for the Spanish people too. Because, my brother, that country just got a little worse. Take care. God bless you. Also, my brothers, just imagine, what's the average for these guys? 3 kids, right? 3 kids per wife. What's the average for Spaniards today? What's the average for Europeans today? It's less, my brother. It's less. AE made a video, I think, in 2015, folks, around that time. It's been a while, huh? That kind of video wouldn't be allowed today. And I showed statements, right, from women from Europe, Spain, France, right? And they were complaining that they weren't attracted to men. Anyone who's been around for a while will remember this video. If you're old school, right? You'll remember this documentary I made. And they used to complain. Look, men are more concerned about looks than we are. And in that same video, I included a report that their birth rate was already irreversible, right? That's exactly why these open border policies started. Why? Because people are disappearing. People are stopping having children, even replacing them with pets, in addition to the promotion of rainbow agendas. Europe is already doomed. Its disappearance is already underway. Its citizens are going to disappear. And then who is going to take over? Just now, 40,000. It's simple, my brothers. Go with God.